Welcome to Be Well. I am Lisa Bragaw, pharmacist, yoga teacher, and health coach. Each week, we'll explore simple, science-informed ways for us to move better, feel more resilient, and feel more at home in our bodies. From breath work and strength training to sleep, hormones, and healthy habits, we're here to help you age well and truly thrive, one small step at a time. This is Be Well. Hi, it's Lisa Bragaw, and this is Be Well. Welcome. So today I'd like to talk about self-care and to really hone in on that it's not just a luxury to, like a big indulgence to go get massages and pedicures and manicures or whatever else you might think of as self-care, but the little daily habits that you can do to nourish yourself so that you don't burn out and feel like you're, serving from an empty cup, or just from lack and neglect for yourself, right? Like when you're flying a plane, they say if the oxygen comes down, you put the mask on yourself first, then you can help everybody else. So I would like to share a personal story with you too of how I came to learn this, because I learned it the hard way, and I'm hoping that you don't have to go through that as well. Years ago, I was working in a very busy pharmacy as a pharmacist, and I worked for probably sometimes 12 to 15 hours a day on my feet. And there was a pharmacist shortage, so I really couldn't take any time off. I had 3 small children at home, and I was, making a decent salary that was helping to support our family. So I felt like I couldn't take time off, and I gave to everybody and everything else besides myself. And I started to get little symptoms, little niggled things here and there, like a little ache in my back, some pain in my hands, my neck would hurt, and I would just ignore it, and I would put it aside, and I would take care of everybody else. And those symptoms just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and I kept ignoring them, and I kept ignoring them, until one day I just couldn't even function anymore. And I was so stressed out, I was so burnt out, and then I couldn't help anybody. And so I did have to take time off from work and really slow down. And it was really, really upsetting to me, because this was my livelihood, this was my profession. I was really proud of how hard I worked, and I felt like, you get a badge for being busy. And so it was really, really hard for me to slow down, but I was like, the universe shut me down. You have to slow down. And I'm so glad today that happened, because of that, I have grown so much. I went back and got a graduate degree. I went and got certified as a yoga instructor. I learned to take care of myself. I learned self-care. And one of my favorite quotes that was just on the screen is, self-care is not selfish. You can't serve from an empty vessel, and serve from your overflow. So I still feel like service is important. But if you're completely running on empty, you really can't help anybody. So just take a moment and reflect. How are you feeling? Are you feeling like your tank is full? Are you feeling like you're running half tank? Or are you on empty too? So if you're feeling like you're running on empty, you're not alone, and it's okay. Give yourself permission to slow down and to pause, and to just reflect on what you could do, just little tiny things that you could do to start to fill your cup back up, to fill your tank back up. And it could be as simple as taking a nap. It could be going for a walk in nature, being out in the sunlight and being revitalized by just being in nature and listening to the birds singing, or listening to the ocean if you can get down by the ocean and listen to the waves. It could be as simple as a 2-second exercise, or maybe a 2-hour nap. So there's lots of things you can do that can help you refill your cup. I love to think about, I do think service is really important. I talk about that quite a bit. Giving back is really important to me. And I feel like if you are a candle and your flame is lit, you can light all the other candles around you, and you don't lose a thing. When a candle lights another candle, it burns brighter. And then you can light an infinite number of candles, and you haven't depleted yourself at all. So I prefer to think of that. Me taking care of myself, slowing things down, is an opportunity for me to keep my fire lit, to keep my candle bright, and also to help others to do the same. So if you slow down and you start taking care of yourself, even little tiny small little things that you can do for yourself, drinking an extra glass of water, or just turning the radio down or off and having a moment of quiet in your day, and just creating these spaces of just boundaries that are good for you to just rebuild your energy, then you'll be able to help everybody else. You're going to be setting an example for other people if you start taking better care of yourself. So self-care could be something indulgent and luxurious, like going for a massage or getting your nails done or a facial or whatever. And that's a wonderful way to do self-care, but that's not the only method of self-care. And I think that might be a misconception for many people. So self-care could be, again, as simple as drinking more water or getting better sleep or nourishing yourself with your diet. Noticing what really energizes you, what makes you feel alive and like you're thriving, and what depletes you. And I think too, when you start to notice those, you have those, just discernment that this really makes me feel good, and when I do this, I don't feel so good. I feel a little depleted, my tank starts to go on empty. When you choose to do the things that deplete you, now you're in control and you're making a conscious choice to do that. And if you only do that every once in a while and you make a conscious effort to bring it back, you're gonna start making better choices over and over and over again, because you're gonna feel better. And when you feel better, you start doing more things so that you keep feeling better. Because what we focus on expands. And if we keep doing things that make us feel good, that help us to thrive, we're gonna keep doing that, and then we're gonna encourage other people. Maybe you start to get people to join you, go walking with a friend, or create a walking group or some sort of an exercise group, or join a fitness class and create that community where you each build each other up. And just show up. You don't have to show up with 100%. You could show up with 5% and give it all 5%. And then when you feel a little better, you give it 10%. Whatever you show up with, just show up. And choose that consistency. Choose your commitment to yourself over convenience, right? So consistency, commitment over convenience. It can be really easy to talk yourself out of doing things that make you feel good. And I would recommend starting small, again, starting with an extra glass of water, going to bed 10 minutes earlier, finding ways to just kind of wind down before you go to bed so you can ensure that you do get good sleep. And just identifying what self-care means to you. And there's so many different ways that can look, right? So your healthcare is a big component of it. Your rest, your mindset, your community. Maybe it's spirituality, whatever that looks like to you. It could be prayer, it could be meditation, it could be journaling. Gratitude is a really wonderful way to lift your vibration. So just pausing whenever you're feeling a little low and think of something that you're grateful for. Movement is phenomenal. So when I'm feeling a little sluggish, a little tired, I will do like 5 jumping jacks. And 5 jumping jacks, it takes me 5 seconds, probably 6 seconds, but it does give me a really big boost. So something that helps you to just feel a little better, have a little more energy, or if you're feeling like you've got too much energy, finding ways that you can calm yourself down. That could be as simple as a few slow breaths. So we've talked about this on other episodes. The square breath is a really nice, calming, balancing breath. And what that looks like is you inhale for a count of 4, and then you pause and retain the breath for a count of 4. And then you exhale for a count of 4, and then you pause again for a count of 4. So it's like you're breathing in a square pattern. So box breathing or 4 square breathing. And you can use any count. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4 if a slow breath isn't available to you yet. It could be your heartbeat. I love to use my heartbeat as a counter because it allows me to go a little deeper and like get in touch with my body, and I feel my heart beating and I'm in touch with my breath. So it's just giving additional layers, and then I'm more in tune with my body. So when things don't feel right, I can respond. And then when you start practicing this, you do respond instead of react. And like what happened to me when I was working so much and not paying attention to my body and ignoring myself while I was taking care of everybody else, I was reacting. So I was in pain. I was taking a lot of anti-inflammatory medications to the point where I ended up with some serious gastrointestinal side effects, even some bleeding. And so that wasn't a good thing for me to do at all, but I learned it the hard way. So I'm going to encourage you to take some time to slow down and to nourish yourself and create some really easy self-care routines that can help you to be able to do more, to give more, to thrive more. I love the quote, "I speed up by slowing down." And I have to remind myself that quite often. I teach a class at Zen Now that's called Yin Yoga, and then I have a slow flow yoga, and I do a guided meditation at the end. And a lot of people say, "Oh, I know I need to do that extra stretching. I know I need to slow down, but I don't have time for that." And then when they make the time for that, they always feel better. It can even improve other things. I had a woman in class a couple weeks ago who said she skipped golf to come to yoga that day. And the next day, she shot the best she's ever shot. So if you do slow down, you will have more energy for yourself and for everyone and everything else too. So what I say about that class, it's a little slower flow. We focus more on slow breathing, longer stretches, and it's not so much about like really stretching a muscle. It's more about softening your connective tissues. And it allows your parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest system, to really tone. You've got, just like your muscles tone when you lift weights, your nervous system can be toned and it can become more resilient. Your sympathetic nervous system is your stress response. Your parasympathetic response is the counterpart to that, and they work really well together. So we can strengthen that parasympathetic nervous system with breath, with grounding exercise, like being in nature, touching the ground with your feet, like stomping your feet. And what I say to people when they come to that class, or if they're curious about that class, but they think they don't have time to take care of themselves, I say it's like a supplement. Like you could have the best diet in the world and you may be missing a nutrient. We have, there's things that we cannot make and they're hard to get in our diet. So you might take a supplement, and it might be a supplement that you take every day. It might be a supplement you take once a week, once a month, once a year. But when you take that supplement, you are filling your cup. Same with movement, and same with this gentle yoga that I'm explaining to you. And it doesn't have to be a yoga class that does that for you. But if you take time to slow down, to fill your cup, it's like taking your phone. Imagine your phone when all the apps are open, or your computer when all the tabs, there's so many tabs open, and everything's running really slowly, and there's things just spinning, and you get really frustrated, and you just close down those apps, and maybe even power the phone all the way down and plug it in and let it recharge. And then when you unplug it and you reboot it and it opens back up only with the programs that you need, and it runs so much better. The battery lasts longer, the programs work faster, and it's less frustrating. It takes some time. You slow it down, you take a moment, you unplug, and then you can come back with just so much more energy. So also, taking care of you is a gift to others. So if serving other people is important to you and giving back is important to you, it is to me. I feel like now I've learned this the hard way. Now I know if I take care of me, I have so much more to give to everybody else. I feel like I'm not depleting myself. I don't feel overwhelmed anymore. And when I do start to get a little bit flustered, or I feel like there's just too much going on, I'm getting too busy and things are overwhelming, then I've learned to pause earlier than I used to. And I think the more we practice these different self-care techniques, the easier it is to catch yourself before you get into that downward spiral. If you catch yourself sooner, you can respond sooner. And it's okay if you start to spiral down. When you catch yourself, you're present again. And that's all it's about, is coming back over and over and over again, practicing forgiveness, being kind to yourself. It's one of the best gifts you can give yourself. It's also one of the best gifts you can give everybody else around you. When you come in calm and relaxed, when you feel like you can get things done and you're efficient and you're organized because you've taken time to recharge yourself, then things run smoother. And the people around you start to pick up on that. And I think that's a really lovely gift for everybody, as well as helping you to thrive. So some of the problems with not taking care of yourself is it does take a toll on our bodies, on our minds, and our quality of life. So if you do take time before you're burnt out, before you're injured, before you're overwhelmed, you're gonna thrive better. It's worth it. You are worth it. So some other ways that you can practice self-care is to make a list of things that you enjoy doing. What brings you peace? What brings you calm? And maybe write a list of things that are free and things that maybe cost money, and you might save up for those splurges. And then every once in a while, check out your free list and go do it, especially if something that's 10 minutes or less. Try to make them a daily practice or a weekly practice. And the more you start adding those in, the easier it's going to be to continue to do them. And then you're going to love it, and you're going to feel like you want to do more and more and more. Again, it could be as simple as drinking more water or going for a walk. Nature is wonderful, and we learn so much from animals, from listening to the wind blowing through the leaves in the trees, or listening to the waves coming on the shore. It's very therapeutic. When we walk by the ocean, and we're so fortunate where we live here in southeastern Connecticut to have so much ocean and beautiful water around us. If you have the opportunity to just take a little walk down by the water and listen to the waves and listen to the birds and watch the sunrise or the sunset and see how it calms you. Every time a wave hits the shore, it releases negative ions into the air, and those negative ions can help make us feel more positive. Same thing with, there's Himalayan pink salt lamps that you might see in a spa or at a salt cave. And you can buy them for home, and they also help to block the electromagnetic waves from your phone. So that's good to have near you if you sleep with your phone in your room, which I've mentioned before is not a great idea. And I keep my phone in another room now because that is part of my self-care. But those pink Himalayan salt lamps, they emit a little bit of a negative ion, and it's a beautiful thing because it just creates balance in our body. So it's a negative charge ion, it creates positivity. So that's where that gets a little bit confusing for some people. So I'm going to ask you a couple things today. When you think about your self-care, if you were to take a nap, would you admit that you took a nap to somebody? I used to not do that because I'd feel bad about that. I feel like I was, it was a guilty pleasure that I snuck in a nap. But if I had 4 hours of sleep and I didn't take a nap, I wouldn't be able to function. So do you feel guilty taking a nap? Do you feel guilty slowing down and maybe saying no to some things? Perhaps you're creating healthy boundaries for yourself. And sometimes saying yes to yourself means saying no to other things, because it's summer and there's a lot of fun things going on. And sometimes we have to say no to some of the invitations that we are given because it's in our best interest for self-care. So now you're saying yes to things that motivate you and help you feel alive and fun, So making those little lists for yourself too. What are you saying yes to? What are you saying no to? Are they making you feel better? Are they making you feel alive? Are they depleting you? And just starting to be a little discerning with those different activities. When was the last time you scheduled a massage or asked somebody to rub your feet or your shoulders? And offering that to somebody else, these little tiny gifts that you can give. What about maybe taking a walk during lunch instead of sitting there and answering your emails after you've eaten? Taking a walk after you eat is really great because it helps to utilize your blood sugar better, helps you to digest your food. It gives you a little boost of energy. Sometimes after lunch we get this little like dozy, tired feeling, kind of lethargic in that mid-afternoon slump. So pick something like that will help you feel a little more energized or just a little more nourished, maybe a little more rested. Can you get up 5 minutes earlier and move your body a little bit before you go give everybody else your awareness, your attention, your energy? Can you maybe call a friend or ask a friend to go for a walk and just create community and be with other people that build you up, that make you feel good? There's areas in the world called the blue zones, and the blue zones are where people live well into their hundreds. So not just that they are living longer lives, they're living healthy lives, they're thriving, they're moving, they're sharp. And there's a lot of commonalities in those different blue zones, and there's been a lot of studies in these blue zones. And some of the things that are common is nourishment, so eating well, community, making time to be with other people, and because loneliness can be really detrimental. Some studies are saying loneliness and isolation is, as bad as smoking is for our health. And loneliness and being alone are different things. Sometimes being alone, because that's your choice, and that might help you to recharge, could be a lovely thing. Maybe you need to make time for yourself to get away from all the noise, all the chaos around you, and create that. Being alone is different than lonely. If you're feeling lonely, finding other people that you can talk to, or even professional help to just help you get over that loneliness or work through that loneliness, because that can be really detrimental to our health span. Our health span is more than just living a long time, it's living well for a long time. So I read recently, it's more than just wanting to have a lot of birthdays, but it's wanting to have a lot of really good birthdays, really healthy, fun, and feeling good in all of your birthdays. That's what a good health span is. So I'm hoping that this kind of sparks a little interest for you, that you start to think about what lights you up, what depletes you, and can you make some adjustments, really simple, easy things to start, things that maybe you're gonna slow down a little bit, maybe you're gonna add a little bit, and just see if you can figure out what lights you up, what helps you shine, how you can take care of yourself, and how you can light your own candle so that you can help light other people's candles without burning yourself out. So also, just a reminder, self-care isn't selfish. As I mentioned before, and I love this quote, self-care isn't selfish. You can't serve from an empty vessel, serve from your overflow. I have that on the wall at the studio. But also, self-care isn't selfish, it's self-respect. Every healthy choice you make today is an investment in the life that you'll be living for years from now. So I really hope that you take this to heart, that you give yourself a lot of grace and work more on consistency, doing things for yourself a little more consistently, taking care of yourself a little more consistently. It's not about long hours of meditation or long hours of different activities. It's more about starting small and doing things that you're likely to continue to keep doing, that are gonna help you thrive, they're gonna help you feel good, they're gonna fill your cup so that you can go out and be that shining light and help others. Another quote I really love, and I just love lighthouses. Again, we live here in this beautiful area where there's so many lighthouses around us. It says, the lighthouses don't go around looking for ships to save. They just stand there and shine their bright light. So be like a lighthouse, fill up your own cup, light your candle, let it shine bright, and then you can help so many other people. I hope this helps you. I hope you have a wonderful week and enjoy a little bit of self-care for yourself, and be well. Thank you for joining me on Be Well. I hope today's conversation inspires at least one simple way for you to support yourself. Before you step back into your day, pause and choose one uplifting action you can gift yourself. What's your one thing going to be? Remember, small, consistent steps create meaningful change. Until next time, take a breath, take care, and be well.